This is for educational purpose only. Our group allows our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardenas, to use this as educational material.
Hello and welcome to this video. I am Engine Cadet JC Martin Basalio, and we will talk about the ideologies of globalization, the 6 core claims of globalization. Before we proceed, I would like to tackle our group's objective, which is to provide a detailed examination of the 6 core claims of globalization, exploring their implications, underlying assumptions, and how they shape the global economic, political, and cultural landscapes. And also, to assess the effects of globalization on various regions, countries, and social groups, particularly focusing on how the core claims of globalization influence economic inequality, cultural change, and political dynamics.
Good day everyone, my name is Engine Cadet Ivan Abarkis. I am the one who will report what is globalization. So, what is globalization? Globalization refers to the process of increasing interconnectedness and interdependence among countries through the exchange of goods, services, information, ideas, and culture. It is driven by advancement in technology, transportation, and communication, which have significantly reduced barriers to international trade and collaboration. While globalization fosters economic growth, innovation, and cultural exchange, it has also present challenges such as income inequality, environmental concerns, and by erosion of local traditions. By linking economies and societies, globalization shapes the modern world, creating both opportunities and complexities in navigating a more integrated global community. And that's all for the globalization.
Good day everyone, I am Engine Cadet Ordonia Lloyd Adzar. 6 claims insight. The 6 core claims of globalism present it as a dominant ideology. Globalization is driven by free market integration, seen as inevitable, irreversible, and leaderless. Guided by self-regulating forces, it promises global economic benefits, foster democracy through market-driven growth, and ties security to a global war terror, positioning globalization as both natural and essential. The 6 core claims of globalism as outlined by Manfred Stiger serve as the ideological pillar that supports and defines the globalist worldview. Here's a concise summary of each claim to help you fully understand them. First, globalization is about market liberalization and integration. This claim links globalization to the spread of free market capitalism. It emphasizes the liberalization of market and their global integration as the driving force of economic growth and efficiency. Second, globalization is inevitable and irreversible. Advocates portray globalization as a natural and unstoppable historical process. This notion deters resistance by framing globalization as an unavoidable reality rather than a chosen path.
Hi, my name is John Lloyd Banay, so I'm going to give 3 insights about the 3 about globalization. So number 1, globalization benefits everyone in the long run. So about this, proponents argue that globalization fosters economic growth and prosperity worldwide, while short-term disruptions may occur. They believe the long-term outcome is beneficial for all. So number 2, globalization spreads democracy. Globalists assert that economic globalization and the expansion of free markets promote democracy by fostering economic development, creating a middle class, and encouraging democratic institutions. So lastly, globalization requires a global war on terror. These claims connects globalization with security, particularly in the post-9/11 world. It suggests that combating terrorism globally is essential for maintaining the stability necessary for globalization to thrive. So these 3 claims works to normalize and legitimate globalization as a process and ideology, shaping public perception and policy to align with globalist objectives. So that's all about these 3 claims of globalizations.
Good day, everyone. So, I am the next reporter after Engine Cadet Abarkes. By the way, I am Engine Cadet Jillian Andrew V. Montero. So today I will be reporting about about Claim 1. Globalization is about the liberation and global integration of markets. Globalization in the context of market integration refers to the liberation and interconnectedness of economies worldwide, enabling the free flow of goods, services, capital, and labor across borders. It emphasizes reducing trade barriers such as tariffs and quotas to create a more seamless global marketplace. This process is driven by technological advancements, policy reforms, and international agreements that promote economic collaboration and competition. While globalization fosters efficiency, innovation, and economic growth, it also raises concerns about market dominance by powerful economies, social inequality, and the environmental impact of increased production and consumption. So the concrete examples of globalization as the liberation and global integration of markets can be seen in online shopping platforms, fast food chains, and automobile manufacturing. Online platforms like Amazon and Alibaba enable businesses to reach customers worldwide, breaking down geographic barriers and creating a global marketplace. Fast food chains like McDonald's and KFC exemplify globalization by adapting their menus to local taste while maintaining global brand consistency, illustrating the blending of global and local markets. In automobile manufacturing, companies like Toyota and Tesla leverage global supply chains for parts and labor, produce vehicles in multiple countries and sell them worldwide, demonstrating the interconnected nature of global and production trade. Lastly is the pros and cons of Claim 1. Globalization is about the liberation and global integration of markets. So I'm going to report the pros and cons about this topic of Claim 1. So economic growth, this is the pro in this topic. Economic growth and development are closely tied to efficiency and innovation, which enhance productivity and competitiveness. Access to global markets enable businesses to expand, reach new customers, and benefit from economies of scale. Technology and knowledge transfer foster advancements and skill development, driving progress across industries. Improved access to capital provides the financial resources needed for investment and growth, while greater consumer choice enriches markets and encourages competition, ultimately contributing to higher living standards and economic resilience. And next is the cons or the disadvantages. Is globalization has contributed to economic inequality both within and between countries, as wealth and opportunities are often concentrated in developed nations or among specific groups, leaving others behind. Cultural erosion occurs as global influences overshadow local traditions and identities, leading to a loss of cultural diversity. The rise of global competition has also led to the decline of domestic industries and job losses in sectors unable to compete with cheaper imports or outsourced labor. Additionally, increased dependency on global supply chains and foreign economies can leave other countries vulnerable to external shocks and limit their economic autonomy.
Hello everyone, I am Agent Cadet Logimanos, and today I'll be sharing my assigned topic, which is the claim that globalization is inevitable and irreversible. Globalization is inevitable and irreversible, meaning it is an unstoppable process driven by technological advancements and growing independence of countries. It suggests that globalization is a natural progression that cannot be reversed or undone, making efforts to resist it impractical. The underlying point is that as the world becomes increasingly connected, globalization will continue to shape economies, cultures, and societies in ways that cannot be turned back. Then I have three concrete examples. The first one is the internet. Connects people and information worldwide. enabling instant communication and access to global resources. Number 2 is the global brands. Companies like Coca-Cola, Nike, and Walmart operate across countries, influencing economies and cultures. Number 3 is the social media platforms. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter facilitate global interactions, cultural exchange, and the spread of ideas. And lastly, we have the pros and cons. The first one in pros is increased global connectivity and collaboration. People, businesses, and governments worldwide can work together more easily, fostering innovations, solutions for global challenges like climate change. Number 2 is the access to global markets and resources. Countries and businesses can trade goods and services across borders, benefiting from access to raw materials, technology and larger consumer bases. Number 3 is the technological advancements and innovation spread widely. New technologies such as the internet and renewable energy solutions spread faster due to globalization, empowering quality of life globally. Number 4. Economic growth through global trade and investment. Trade agreement and foreign investments boost economies, creating jobs and increasing income levels in both developed and developing countries. Number 5 is the enhanced cultural exchange and understanding. People are exposed to different cultures, ideas, and traditions, fostering tolerance and global awareness. Number 6. Improve global problem solving. International cooperation allows nations to address global issues like pandemics, terrorism, or environmental concerns more effectively. And in the cons, there are 5. Number 1 is the loss of local cultures and identities. Globalization often spreads dominant cultures, leading to the erosion of local traditions, languages, and cultural practices. Number 2 is the economic dependency on global systems. Over-reliance on global supply chains makes countries vulnerable to disruptions, such as during pandemics or trade conflicts. Number 3 is the inequality and uneven benefits across regions. While some countries prosper, others struggle to compete, widening the gap between rich and poor nations. Number 4 is the vulnerability to global economic fluctuations. Economic crisis is more part of the world can affect other regions due to interconnected markets. For example, a stock market crash in a major economy can ripple globally. Number 5 is the difficulty in reversing or controlling the process. Once globalization progresses, it becomes challenging to regulate or reverse its effects, especially for smaller economies.
Good day everyone, I'm Engine Cadet Gayo. I'm here to discuss the Claim 3. Nobody is in charge of globalization. So globalization is inevitable and all countries must prepare for it. But no one is specifically responsible. Globalization is a progressive process that involves the exchange of ideas, goods, and research across the world. It is a result of people working, buying, selling, and interacting with each other across political borders. Government can help globalization work by creating and enforcing rules and regulation that support economic activity. So we have 3 concrete examples of nobody is in charge of globalization. First, global internet platform. Second, social media challenges. Third, travel booking site. So what is the global internet platforms? The global internet platforms driven by private cooperation facilitate globalization by connecting people and spreading ideas worldwide. It lacks centralized governments, leading fragmented accountability and challenges in managing their global impact. What is social media challenges? The social media challenges can be seen in the way platforms amplify misinformation, creating a global spread of conflicting ideas and narratives. Additionally, the lack of regulation allows for the exploitation of data and privacy violation, which contribute to global inequalities in access and control. And the last, travel booking site. So what is travel booking site? Travel booking site have become incredibly acceptable, making it easier for people to plan trips globally. However, nobody is truly in charge of globalization in this sector, as it is driven by mix of private companies, technology, and open market competition. Lastly, the pros and cons of Claim 3, nobody is in charge of globalization. The pros of nobody in charge of globalization is economic growth. Economic growth, globalization can promote economic growth and improve quality of life in many countries. Access to new market. Globalization allows company to access new market and find lower costs to produce goods. Technology and knowledge. Globalization spread technology and knowledge across borders. Global cooperation. Globalization can enhance global cooperation and tolerance. And the cons, economic inequality. Globalization can increase economic inequality and power imbalance between country and individual. Job loss. Globalization can lead to job loss and wage stagnation in higher wage countries. Environmental degradation. Globalization can lead to environmental degradation. And that's all part of Claim 3. Nobody is in charge of globalization. And thank you.
Good day everyone. I am Engine Cadet Gian Rafael Arnoco and I will be discussing Claim 4, which is Globalization benefits everyone. Globalization. Globalization benefits everyone by connecting countries, improving access to goods, services, and opportunities, fostering cultural exchange, and encouraging collaboration to solve global challenges. Concrete examples. 1. Cultural access and change mean that globalization allows people to experience and adapt elements of different cultures, enriching their lives and broadening their perspectives. For example, a student in the Philippines might enjoy Japanese anime, eat Italian pizza, and listen to Korean pop music, all without leaving their home country. 2. Technological advancement through globalization means that countries share innovations, making technology more accessible and improving lives worldwide. For example, smartphones designed in the US, manufactured in China, and used globally to allow people to connect, work, and learn no matter where they are. 3. An increase in consumers' choices through globalization means people have access to a wider variety of goods and services from around the world. For example, a shopper in the Philippines can buy clothes from American, Korean, or local brands, giving them more options to match their style and budget. Pros. 1. Economic growth and poverty reduction happen because globalization creates jobs, boosts trade, and attracts investments, helping countries develop and lifting people out of poverty. 2. Technological progress through globalization happens when countries share ideas, innovations, and expertise, leading to a faster advancements. Cons. 1. Job loss in developed countries happens when companies move factories or jobs to countries with lower labor costs, making some workers lose their positions. 2. Income inequality occurs when globalization benefits highly skilled workers and businesses more than low-skilled workers, widening the gap between rich and poor.
I'm Engine Cadet Ned Rubio, and my topic is all about globalization furthers the spread of democracy in the world. Globalization has the potential to advance democracy by promoting the exchange of ideas, values, practices that support democratic governance. The widespread access information through technology such as the internet and social media helps raise awareness about human rights, freedom of speech, and political participation. Additionally, global economic interconnectedness can encourage governments to adopt more transparent and accountable policies in order to integrate into the international community and attract foreign investment. Concrete example. Number one is access to global news. This headline could appear across various global news platforms like BBC, CNN, or Reuters giving updates on natural disasters. It would typically provide real-time information about the event, the effectiveness areas, government responses, and humanitarian efforts. Number two is movies and entertainment. Such news obtain affairs in global entertainment outlets like Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and Deadline, providing updates on box office numbers, star performance, and industry trades. Number three is education and awareness. According to a UNESCO report, approximately 250 million children worldwide remain out of school due to conflict, poverty, and other barriers. Pros and cons. Number one example of pros is global communication networks. This is enabling advancements in industries like autonomous vehicles, telemedicine, and smart cities. Number two is spread of democratic ideas, economic development, and education. This development is seen in global reports by organizations like World Bank and United Nations, which highlight how democratic systems can lead to improved economic indicators and educational outcomes. Number three is international support for democratic movements. In 2025, international organizations and countries continue to support pro-democracy movements in Myanmar and Belarus. Cons. Number one example of cons is mixed outcomes, economic inequality, and instability. In 2025, the global economy has made strides toward recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, but the benefits have been uneven. Number two is cultural homogenization. In 2025, streaming platforms like Netflix, Spotify, and YouTube continue to dominate global entertainment, contributing to cultural homogenization. Number three is authoritarian resilience. In 2025, several authoritarian regimes, such as those in Russia, China, and Iran, continue to demonstrate resilience despite growing international pressure and internal protest calling for democratic reforms.
So, good day guys, I am Engine Cadet Jimenez and I am going to tackle about the final claim of Manfred Steger, which is the claim 6, which argues about globalization requires global war on terror. So, to fully understand this claim, let's make a quick recap about what is globalization and global war on terror. So globalization, so the previous group or my previous members discussed about what is globalization. So it is a process by which countries and economies and cultures become interconnected and interdependent through trade. So communication, technology, and the exchange of ideas and resources. So next is global war on terror. So what is global war on terror? So it is a worldwide campaign or military group which led by the United States and its allies to combat terrorism, especially following the events on September 11, 2001. So it focuses on eliminating terrorist groups and preventing terrorist activities through military, political, and economic efforts. So this claim 6 is connects economic globalization to military and nationalist ideologies, especially the US-led global war on terror. But this claim possesses a somewhat paradoxical character. It is contingent since globalization might proceed without global terror if it were no longer a significant problem. But if the war on the terror continues and gets more intense, it might become a bigger part of the story of globalization. So, if terrorism stops being a global threat, globalization can survive without it, but it might become less important. Then the next is if terrorism remains a major issue, the global war on terror could grow even more important over time. But it somehow possesses a paradox. So why? So why does it possesses a paradox? So because globalization is supposed, diba, globalization is supposed to unite countries and create mutual benefits. While the war on terror, by emphasizing control, nationalism, and corruption, often divides countries or causes tension between them. So for example, military interventions can lead to resentment or distrust, which goes against globalization's spirit of humanity. So here are more concrete examples enabled for you guys to understand the claim, which the events of the US invasion of Iraq in 2003, also known as Operation Iraq Freedom. So what happened during this invasion and how did it become related to this claim? The globalization required global war on terror. So the 2003 US invasion to Iraq, led by the US President George Bush, aimed to overthrow Saddam Hussein. So the invasion was justified not only as a means of dismantling Saddam Hussein's alleged weapons of mass destructions, or the WMDs, but also a part of a broader strategy to spread democracy and stabilize the Middle East. So the US government argued that by bringing democracy to Iraq, they were promoting a more interconnected, prosperous world, which fits the idea of globalization. But during the invasion, presented a major contradiction to the principles of globalization. Why? Because globalization is ideally based on peaceful cooperation, interconnected economies, and the free exchange of ideas and goods. But the US used military force to enforce its version of democracy, which directly contradicted the notion of freedom that globalization typically promotes. So that's why Claim 6 is it has paradoxical character in it. So these are the pros and cons of my topic, which is the Claim 6. Globalization requires global war on terror. So the first one is the pros, which is it has 3 pros, which is addressing global threats. So addressing global threats enhance international security, making it easier for globalization to grow without threats like terrorism disrupting trade and connectivity. So the second pros is promotes economic growth. So by reducing instability in regions affected by terrorism, countries can attract investments, boost trade, and integrate into the global economy. So the last pros is to strengthen national and international institutions. It can lead to stronger globalization. For instance, the UN or the NATO and national institutions working together for a safer and more connected world. So these are the cons of the Claim 6. The first one is it creates more conflict. So why? Because we all know that the war on terror often escalates violence, as military actions can provoke retaliation from terrorist groups and fuel new insurgencies. Instead of solving global issues, it sometimes leads to prolonged wars, regional instability, and the rise of extremist groups like ISIS. Then the second the second con is it contradicts globalization. So globalization promotes unity and cooperation, but the war on terror fosters division by emphasizing militaristic and nationalistic approaches. It undermines the universal principles of globalization, such as free movement and cultural exchange, by creating fear, distrust, and barriers among nations and communities. So the last con of this topic is it can hurt innocent people. So why? Because we all know military campaigns and counter-terrorism operations often result in civilian casualties, displacement, and destruction of buildings. This humanitarian tool contradicts the goals of globalization, which aim to improving living standards and foster global prosperity. So this is my report, and this is my report about globalization requires global war on terror. Thank you.